Hey guys, today I want to talk about an Easter weekend mess. This weekend has been a great weekend overall, but also been a mess because of logistics and food issues and trying to find things and everything else. And I'm going to start you off from the beginning. Starting off on Good Friday, we started going out looking for money, and we tried ATMs, going to different places, trying to get money, and no luck, no money anywhere. Couldn't get any money at any BDO. Totally out of luck. So next thing I did was I just said, you know what? I'll wait. I'll take a break. So we ended up going to Alabang the other day, and what happened was we went there. It was on Easter, and I started looking for more money, trying to find money, and guess what? No money machines working from BDO or any of the other machines. They're all empty. They don't fill them up on Easter weekend, which is actually a very busy shopping time for the Philippines. And if they had these machines open, people could get access to money and spend more money. But for some reason it just doesn't register with BDO. Apparently that they'd be helping some of these businesses make some more money. Anyway, we went there, no money, so I decided to use my credit card at Panda Express, which is where we were going over in Alabang. So we're waiting in line in Alabang, and a lady comes up to me and she goes, "Can I take your order?" And I says, and I've learned from the past that if you give these people your order, by the time it gets up to the front, it's already messed up, and they give you a double order, because the lady said, I'll tell the lady at the register, well, I already gave her my order. And she'll say, well, I'll take it again, sir. And then what happens is the other lady comes over and hands it a thing, and then they double up on the order. And it's like, I get charged double for other stuff that I didn't order, because they put the two orders together, even though it's just one order. They come up and they get it all totally messed up. So I told the lady, yes, I'm going to order up front. Apparently she didn't like that too much, but she let me order up front. But anyway, they tried seating us. It was another mess. Okay. I'm looking out at the seats, and half of them are empty, and they said, "Sir, it's a half-hour wait. You have to go sit out front here, and you have to wait to be seated." I'm like, "Wait to be seated when half the seats are empty?" And they're like, "Yes, sir." And I'm like, "No." I said, "I want to see a manager, because I'm looking out here." I says, "I can see half these tables and half these seats are empty, but you got people over there waiting to be seated, and I have to go sit over with them wait to be seated, but when you got seats out there already." I says, "No, I'll just get my food and I'll go sit someplace. I'm fine. I'll take care of myself. Thank you." Because sometimes these people, they don't have the managers in these places. They don't watch what's going on out in their restaurant sometimes. One thing I can say about the Double Dragon up in Manila, where they have Panda Express also, is that they got it together up there. They know what they're doing. They don't have people seating people and all that stuff. It's just like you seat yourself. And when they have these people, put people in charge of seating people, and the guy's got like this big list of people waiting and stuff like that. And he shows me his list, and I'm like, well, I'm sitting over there. You guys got like half this place empty, and you're not seating any of those people over there. So obviously, I'm gonna sit here, because you got plenty of empty seats, and they're sitting there for a long time. So finally, he makes provisions for me to sit down with our group of 4 total. And it's kind of sad when you see stuff like that. And that was just the beginning of my weekend. Okay, and then we come into Monday. That's today. Now today I went to the mall, figuring I'm gonna go to the ATM, and I'm gonna get some envelopes too to mail off my IRS stuff. And this is the way it started. I go into the ATM, guess what? And I go right to BDO Bank. Guess what? All of them empty. So I'm looking at the guard. He says, this is the bank itself. These are supposed to be filled up. So he points me over to SM, the store. He says, use the ATM over there. You'll be all set over there. I go over there. There's one open. One. So I get my money. I pull out my money. I go over to National Bookstore to try to get some envelopes so I can mail my IRS money in, because I owe them like $100 and something. So I go over there. I try to get an envelope, out of stock, Poe. So I'm like, today's the last day. Here I am looking for envelopes now to mail out from the post office. So I go up to this other store. I go in the back, and fortunately, they have envelopes, and they have the window type. Okay. So I put the thing inside the window. It cuts off part of the address, but most of the address you can see, except for it says Internal Revenue Service Center or something like that. The center part is cut off or whatever. So I put it inside there, and then I lick it, and guess what? They're defective envelopes. So I go to buy some other envelopes. I look at those. There's no, the things where they lick, there's nothing on there either. So it must have been a bad weekend at the envelope factory in Manila or something like that. And they didn't put any glue on the envelopes. So when I got there, I told the lady, I says, can you put some tape on the back or tape that shut or what have you? And then I get there at the post office. She's telling me she doesn't have change for $1,000, but she's got the envelope all ready to roll. So I says, well, you don't have to give me all the change. Just give me whatever. Give me 700 pesos or whatever. It was like 140. I said, whatever you got, just give it to me. I says, we'll figure this out. I says, you can go to lunch with the rest later on when you have some change or whatever. I says, I just want to get this mailed. I says, I have to get this mailed today. It has to be mailed today. So I get that mailed out. Then I go over to the mall, and as on my way to the mall, I stop at McDonald's, and I ask him for an Egg McMuffin, out of stock, Po. Okay, I says, give me a sausage McMuffin, out of stock, Po. Okay, give me a Big Mac, out of stock, Po. Okay, give me a shake. Machine's broken, sir. 4 items. 4 items. Any manager in America would be fired for that. They'd be fired for that. Clearly, they'd be fired for that. To let the store go down that fast, that low, and to just let the McDonald's get, a franchise get down to that point. And it's not just that McDonald's, it's other McDonald's here too. The managers that they hire are totally inept, and they have no clue what's going on in a lot of these stores. They're busy back there flipping burgers or something like that when they should be paying attention to what's going on in the store. And a lot of times they don't pay a lot of attention to the inventory, and whoever's doing the inventory in these stores should be fired. And the same goes in like a lot of these places over the weekend that I've gone to over the weekend. We're out of stock on a lot of items too on Easter weekend, which is a very busy weekend. Even though they're closed partially, when they are open, there's a lot of people in there getting this stuff to bring home for Easter Sunday. Well, after I left there, I went over to Dunkin' Donuts, okay, at Walmart. When I walk into Walmart, okay, I walk into Dunkin' Donuts, and there's nobody in Dunkin' Donuts, but the place is open. I'm waiting. I wait about 15 minutes. I wanted to get the kids some Dunkin' Donuts. So I'm waiting, and the guy tells me, boy, this girl should be here. And I says, yeah, you think? I says, they're open, but the girl takes off and takes a break as soon as they open, because they open at like 10 o'clock or whatever. She goes on break at 10:30 apparently. So, and then comes back at 11. I'm like, this is ridiculous. The girl's here for half an hour, and then she goes on break. So the store is empty during that time. But this is the way things happen in the Philippines, and this is why you need to learn patience here. It's sad to say this is life in the Philippines. This is the wonkiness of the Philippines. This is something that happens here, and you have to grow accustomed to. Whether you're waiting in a bank or waiting at an ATM that's probably not going to work by the time you get up to it. A lot of times I've waited in line with 10 people in front of me, and by the time I get up to the machine is empty. This is what happens in the Philippines a lot, and it's something that if you have no patience, you probably shouldn't be in the Philippines. Today and this weekend, overall it was a good weekend for me. I had an enjoyable weekend. I had a lot of rest. I went out to eat at Panda Express. Granted, I had to, get frustrated a little bit by the people there, but I just kind of like let it roll off with a duck's back. Do I get a little frustrated? Yeah, I do. I'll be honest. And I'm sure anybody would too, with all the wonkiness that goes on around here. But you know what? If you don't grow accustomed to it here in the Philippines, you shouldn't be here. If you have a bad temper, you shouldn't be here. Do I give people a piece of my mind sometimes? Sometimes I do. I tell them I want to talk to a manager, and I tell the manager, I says, you need to put your stuff together here. You got no inventory. You can't serve your people. I'll tell them at McDonald's, you have your main sandwich, your Big Mac, and you don't even have it in stock. You don't have Egg McMuffins in stock. And some of the places that I've gone to, they've even told me that they discontinued Egg McMuffins at that store. Discontinued it. And when I looked up what the thing, they did. They took it off the thing. That's one of their main sandwiches. Even over here it is. I see a lot of people ordering Egg McMuffins when they walk in, at least at some of the McDonald's that I go to. And they're not expats or anything. But this is what we have to deal with over here a lot of the time. Is it better than the U.S.? I think the U.S. is starting to get their butt kicked a little bit too over there with a lot of issues and soon to be food shortages and stuff like that. But I think the Philippines, we're starting to see some of those food shortages now, and I think more to come soon. And it's getting kind of scary over here when I look at things and say, wow, things are starting to empty out over here, like in some of the restaurants and stuff. When you walk into a restaurant, half the stuff is out of stock. It's kind of sad and scary when you see that over here, but it's getting to be a regular issue. I'm hearing from friends in the U.S. though that when you go into some of the restaurants, they're short of help, and you have to wait a long time for your food, sometimes as long as 45 minutes to an hour. So, in the United States, they have their problems. We definitely got our problems here too. And, I think these issues are becoming worldwide because of our leaders. Our leadership skills are lacking throughout the world, both for managers and for politicians. Let's face it, our politicians are lacking big time. And with a World War III possibly on the horizon, and it looks like that's what's going to happen soon, we're going to see more food shortages. And with this lack of skills, management skills, it's not going to help things any better. It's actually going to make it worse, because without leaders in the world's going to fall apart this time. I don't know if we can pull it together, or and just starve to death. Pull it together or starve to death. That's our choice, basically. If these people don't get rid of these managers that can't keep stores shelves stocked and stuff like that, then maybe we need to start complaining about these people. And I'm not talking about stores back in America. I'm talking about places throughout the world here that are having issues with shortages in restaurants, in some of the stores also. There's a lot going on nowadays, and some of it is mismanagement, because if you look around and you call another company, sometimes you can get that order filled, sometimes you can't. But at least we need to try and pull together. But anyway, guys, have patience in the Philippines. And I think you're probably going to need patience in the United States soon too. God bless, guys. Take care.